Hello everyone, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker. How are you today? Thank you for joining me. Today is day one of my 17th 30-day coloring challenge. I'm so excited. I always like to try and do something a little different on the first day. So today, this is definitely different for me. We're going to do some print making. I want to show you how I created these backgrounds using these Lawn Fine die cuts. So easy. I'm using the Karin markers, Arches watercolor paper. Check the supply list and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. So here's what the backgrounds look like before I put the butterflies on them. Super fun. I like how they turned out. You can, of course, use any colors, any mediums, but I chose to use the Karin markers. So let's go ahead and get started. So you probably do this already, but when you're die cutting, die cut several of each because you can always use it later. You can just smoosh some ink on there, whatever. So these are the Lawn Fun die cuts. I rolled my chair over the watercoloring paper, but I'm not going to let that bother me. Like, just go with it. It'll turn out. We'll see anyway. Whoops. So I'm pointing that out. I'm not letting that bother me. So I'm spritzing these with water. I love this Distress sprayer from Tim Holtz. And I just want to get these saturated, and then I'm just going to use the tip to get some of that color on. I chose some of the colors in the pink, orange, yellow family. And I'm just dabbing a little bit of that water off. I went a little crazy and added a lot. If there's too much water, you won't be able to get any ink on there. So I'm just scribble coloring some of the marker onto the wet paper. And I'm just trying to keep a concentrated color near the center of the butterfly. And then you can just take that marker and go over the orange. Now I'm using this little hand. That didn't work. My paper piercer worked best just to hold that butterfly down. So I'm really just playing, but the most important part is the print that I'm going to make is using the paper underneath while I'm just doing this. So I have a large piece of Arches 140-pound watercolor paper. I like to use the cold press. So it's underneath here, it's my surface, and it's also going to absorb some of the colors that I'm using while I do these butterflies, and then that becomes part of the print. So I'm going back in the middle there and adding some more of that color. I want to concentrate it a little bit. I want a little bit more of an intense color. So on some of these other butterflies, I'm just going to speed this up a little bit to save some time. I'm just picking up random colors and just scribbling on there. I do like to keep it darker in the center, so I'm going from darker to lighter. And again, you can just color on top of the marker and the colors will blend when you spray them with water. So what I will be doing is using the spritzer and spraying these to blend the colors, and then we'll get, it's kind of acting like a stencil to get that impression to make the print for the background. Ooh, that was kind of a mouthful. So I'm gonna just tip it upside down, get some of that water off, dry it a little bit, and also make the butterfly prints. So kind of a stencil, kind of not. Whatever, don't hold me to that. So see how cool that is? And then you're kind of doing two things in one. And then once this dries, I'll cut it up and that's my background. Super fun. I mean, I'm not the get inky kind of person, So it's another great way to do the coloring challenge, is to challenge yourself a little bit more. Now, let me talk about the 30-day coloring challenge. If you're new to the 30-day coloring challenge, you can use any medium. As you can see, I'm using Karin markers and I'm using die cuts. I'm not coloring an image. Everybody is welcome. It's open to everyone. And the most important thing is to, when you're sharing, tag me on Instagram, or you can upload on my blog, excuse me, thedailymarker.com, or on Instagram, just tag me. But I want you to use the hashtag, please. Hashtag thedailymarker30day. And then young kids and young adults, the Daily Marker 30-day kids. So I make sure I don't miss any of those. But you'll be able to upload on my blog if you want. I know some people are on Instagram. There's also a Facebook group. If some people are just Facebookers. I'm not. Okay, so I'm just adding color, focusing it again in the center, and now I'm taking the marker, running it along the edge there, just for a little different look on this particular butterfly. The whole idea is just to play. There's no wrongs. You just have fun and just make a print at the same time. I think this would be a great thing for kids to do, because they love to get all messy and everything. You could use your blending brushes and spritz them. What would be really cool is to use a stencil on this bottom butterfly and then add the top layer on top. That'd be really cool. So for the top layer of the butterflies, I'm just adding that concentration of the darker color in the centers. You can use a brush to pull that color down. A paintbrush or a blending brush. I mean, literally anything. Or you could just use so much water that it'll spread and just let it air dry. I'm not into a light edge, so I'm taking my marker and running that along the edge so it's not a white edge. I just feel like it gives it a more finished look. I do that when I fussy cut things. I do it on the edges of my paper lot as well. Okay, so notice how I flipped, sorry about the paper there, flipped that top layer over to make another print from that. And then I'm just doing the same thing on all the other butterflies. You can heat set them or just let them air dry. I kind of like to curl the ends up on die cuts just so they're not so flat. And then I'll use some foam tape to tape them down. So this was the paper that was underneath the butterflies, and I flipped some of them over to make the print. Here's how when they were cut, how they worked on the background. And then I'm just keeping it really simple, putting one butterfly on each card. And then I'll add a sentiment when I need a card. That way I either have a blank card or I can just throw one on. So I hope you like this technique, and I can't wait to see what you guys are sharing for the coloring challenge. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Okay, bye.